was a guitarist that became rather popular. But Gary Moore and Ozzy didn't get along, and too much of a clash, an ego battle. So I introduced Ozzy to Randy Rhoads because I thought Randy Rhoads was like this guy that I saw that was just fucking incredible. Right. And the funniest experience I probably ever had was getting punched in the face for introducing Randy to Ozzy because Randy, quote unquote, was a fag. Because he wore like a bunch of little rings on his hand. Yeah, and he thought that he was like a fag. So, to make a long story short, I co-wrote Crazy Train, I Don't Know, Suicide Solution. I took money instead of credit and glory.
Did you do some stuff on the Bark at the Moon album?
Yeah, Bark at the Moon, Rock and Roll Rebel, and Waiting for Darkness.
Right.
And again, you know, when you're in a situation where you need money, you'll probably, at that time, do anything. You know?
Right.
So I didn't have a manager, I didn't have a lawyer, I didn't know what to do. And I got fucked pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I got, you know, for me, I kind of learned the hard way, you know, well, wow, that's not a thing to do. And I started working at this place called Pasha Music House.
Right.
That's where Quiet Riot came out of. And we did this Quiet Riot album like on no money and in like a back fucking room, like a closet. And the fucking thing sells 5 million records. And if Kevin DuBrow was known as a prick. I mean, he's just known as a piece of shit even back then.
He's not doing anything now. So.
He started to do something.
But I guess it still doesn't hurt too much before.
No. So I started working, wrapping up cords and cables and learning studio stuff.
Right.
And then from there I played on the Spano stuff, a couple albums there. And
brown hair.
Yeah. The Beach Boys, I played on a Beach Boys song, if you can imagine that.
I can imagine.
And then I re-met Ozzy again and recorded some live stuff on Ozzy and Jake. Went out on the road with Motley Crue, recorded some of that stuff. Really got on the other side of the business.
Right.
But I was so fucking bored stiff from being in the other side of the business that I said, you know, this wasn't the way. Oh, Marcus.
Party, man.
Fuck yeah, this is. This is a no bullshit affair.
Were you watching Channel 13?
Anyway,
I
so.
think it just talked about us on the news, man.
You're kidding.
Yeah, it talked about Hurdy.
Right. Or their lack of.
Yeah, like lack of haircuts.
Anyway, so we went. Vinnie Vincent I met by accident, and I met him at an AM show.
I met in an elevator.
And I met him in an elevator. I was supposedly going up, he was going down. I wish he would have kept going down. It was no. I mean, listen. I was told it was going to be a band. The guy seemed like a reasonable guy. He's got a very lovely wife and children, and that's all fine and do. But he's not. I didn't know that he wasn't liked in Kiss. See, I was led to believe he was like a total, like, fucking Vinny is a dude, you know. And little did I know, Jakey Lee tells me later, you know, don't do this. The guy wasn't liked in that band at all. And I'm like, it's a little late, like we've already started to make a record.
Right.
And he says, you're gonna learn. I'm telling you, the guy's not a liked guy. So we did that, and Mark could have been in the band during that first record, and Vinny was not desirous of having Mark in the band or something. So I stayed in contact with Mark, and when we made the second Invasion album, Mark and I both discussed, like, this is probably the end of this. And
Right.
before we even did the record, I knew it was the end of it. And so that's a really shitty feeling, you know, knowing that music you're making is going to be made for almost no reason at all.
Right.
At this point, we had toured with Iron Maiden, with Alice Cooper.
Pretty shocking. We got the Vinnie Vincent album and said, wow, this is really good. And then like a month after it came out,
Yeah,
it's
it was over.
It's their history. It's like, what the fuck? You know?
Well, I mean, it's not a lot of fun for us either. When you make a record, you put your heart and your soul into it, and then that idiocy happens. And the guy got so caught up in himself. Every interview I read was me, I, me, I, you know. So tell me what you think of Iron Maiden's tour. I could care less. And it was the Slaughter idea was Mark and me talking and saying, you know, fuck, I don't want to sit in a chair yet, man. I can't sit in a fucking chair. And you know, Mark's saying, well, let's just do it. It'll be right. It'll be cool. And I said, yeah, it's fucking easy for you to say that. I just put this together and that's bullshit and blah, blah, blah. And inevitably, the Slaughter thing went together pretty easy. From what we knew, we were theoretically in the streets. I mean, granted, I made my share of money. I can't tell you I was poor and starving. I wasn't poor and starving, but, you know, I worked my ass off for what I had. You know, someone sees you driving, you know, a hot car.
Hello, welcome to the John. You can tell this is John, obviously, because there's a toilet right there with a cigarette butt. Anyway, cheers to you. All the best to you. And believe in what you are. Believe in yourself. Enjoy life. Live, love, laugh, be happy. That's what I gotta say.
Thank you.
Drink apple juice.
When you guys first went in to write the songs, Mark was telling me you guys had some of the stuff that was written on Domino's pizza boxes. You guys pretty much made it up as you went along.
The lyrics were all true life stories.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everything was written from the heart. There wasn't anything for
There was no bullshit. There was nothing made up. A girl stole my credit card and abused the piss out of me, and we wrote a song called "She Wants More."
It was great.
How'd you guys like to go on tour and you have this girl living in your condo in another state, another 3,000-mile part of the country? You come home and not only has she ripped you off and taken your furniture, but she's literally bought a new wardrobe on you and continuing to go crazy all over the country. There's nothing you can do about it.
I thought it was kind of funny. That's how the song actually got started because I was goofing on him. He says, "Great idea," and then we wrote the rest of the song in like 5 minutes.
So they caught her at a place called Addictions, buying like a fucking, some micro skirt and fucking, like heavy metal regalia boots and shit. It was like out of hand. Flight of the Angels was written about a girl Mark knew that he wanted to go back and see, and the girl had died, and Mark wanted to write a positive song about dealing with it. Spend My Life With You was kind of the ultimate love song, thinking that somewhere out in this world you'll find something that you can totally relate to, someone you could fall in love with, that could deal with what you do for a living. And I think the hardest thing is anybody thinking, that they could date a musician, but an aspiring musician especially, none of us are, quote, Motley Crue and Tommy Lee and Vince Neil. We're still fighting hard, and things have happened a lot faster for us than we
That's saying
thought they would.
that those guys don't fight hard.
They fight real hard, but
we're always
financially at this point they're a little more stable than we are.
Yeah.
I mean, fine, we own houses and we own cars and what have you, but I mean, they've got a little more stability. So when you've got that, your immediate thing is, especially every guy thinks, fucking hell, all I have to do is be in a fucking rock band, I will score fucking women constantly. Problem is, okay. But the problem is, 3 weeks later when the party's over and the airplanes and the buses and the trains and the traveling all the time and the, hey, here's a piece of jewelry, when all that's over, you've got to have someone that can deal with what you do for a living. And that's the fucked up part. So I'd say that for outsiders looking in, people think, oh yeah, they've got this around them and that around them. It's very difficult to have a normal life. I mean, is this a normal life? Answer, yeah. But answer to anybody else, to Fred down there, security guard, obviously not.
It's Frank.
Frank Reed was his, R-E-E-D. Frank Reed. So it was that would probably be like our life story time.
Bruce called.
Bruce Colbert.
Yeah. Left a message. Did you talk to him?
I did, about faxing bank account information.
When did you talk to him? Earlier today.
Yeah.
Because we got a message from him.
Well, because it was only 7 o'clock though.
Right. Your favorite song? Do you have any personal favorites?
My favorites?
Love them all.
I think Flight of the Angels is something that's pretty near and dear to me. There was a lot of emotion when we did it, and a lot of feelings, and a lot of feeling. I mean, we've all lost people. In the last 2 years, we've all had a lot of people in our lives die. I mean, girls we knew out of nowhere just fucking dropped dead. Another girl in a car accident that we knew fucking died. I was just, wow. So that's near and dear to me. Burning Bridges is obviously something that Mark and I snicker at from time to time. It was a release, everybody laughed, I can't believe you fuckers are gonna write about burning bridges. And the demo was all fucked up. The demo was, you're gonna charge it to the fucking record guy. I mean, it was real angry. We didn't want to say fuck this and fuck that. I mean, Guns N' Roses did it already. We wouldn't have been doing anything new.
Right.
Is that by any chance a slam to Vinnie Vincent?
Indirectly, maybe.
It's a fictional character that we hope represents people that.
It's like going to Burger King.
Yeah, I
Someone
mean,
told me this story.
I think everybody's played in a band with somebody that's a jerk off. I know, obviously we do, and yeah, it could be anybody. It could be Fred, Frank Reed, or whatever his name is.
Frank Reed.
Frank Reed.
Fred was his name?
Frank Reed.
R-E-E-D, Reed.
Joe.
Oh yes, we wanted to ask you about Wing It.
Yeah. What is the deal with
Winging It was not smoking pot wildly, but Winging It was Winging It was Mark and I walking back from a grocery store, if you can imagine this. 'Cause again, Nobody would ever
stuff.
believe this.
Comes from this, yeah.
Nobody would ever believe, you know, okay, so don't tell me they're in the middle of making a record and they're walking to a grocery store. But the answer is, yeah, we were making a record that we were fighting like hell for, and we made it in a not so great environment, but that was what was good about making the record. And we were walking back from a Vaughn's grocery store, which is a big chain in Los Angeles where you, everything's like cheaper, and if you buy like one thing, you get another one free. So being the cheapest bastards on earth, we were walking back from Vaughn's, and I said, you know, what we don't have in this whole album is something fucking out of hand funny. And yeah, so we both started, you know, kind of like black people would do. And we just went in. I swear to God, and we were in the middle of doing something on Up All Night actually, and we just took the tape off the fuck. See, because in producing your own record, you just go and take the fucking tape off the tape machine, put another one up, and say fuck this, and I'd like to do something new. And we just created that song. It was like a joke. It was an hour-and-a-half thing, and then when we heard it back, we said, you know, people should hear this because if they heard Winging It, they'd probably get a fucking bang.
Yeah, it's just because we're listening to it, so these guys are guys having fun.
Oh, it was fun. It was totally. We had a really good time.
What's up? It's just something else that brings you, like, sets you from nonsense over a bunch of years ago.
No, we had a really good time.
So what we do with this boy is just personal use, or is just a?
This is just personal. Whatever.
Okay.
Just wanted to get a bunch of guys.
What do you want to know? You want to know how the band got together or something?
Pretty much. Yeah.
See, we got I started playing drums in junior high marching band. Did the drum corps thing, and through high school I was leader of my drum corps. Played all-city orchestra. Went to college for a while as a pre-med student. I got a scholarship and went to University of Texas as a pre-med student for a while. And rock and roll was just in my blood, you know, I couldn't get out of my blood. So I quit school, went joined the rock band, started playing around clubs, you know, get my chops up. And eventually I knew Bobby Rock. I'm not familiar with Vinnie Vincent, but Bobby Rock, the old drummer, was my drum teacher. He went to the same high school I went to before I got there, and he taught me for a while. And when the invasion broke up, I heard about the gig, and just, you know, they told me, they said send a videotape, and they called me like one day before their audition. They said send the videotape, and I figured just sending the videotape just wouldn't be, you know, enough, you know, because, you know, they had somebody like the California guys coming down, the big time guys, a lot of big names. So I figured, what the hell, I'll fly down. You know, so I flew down that night, got there in the morning, you know, just showed up at the place, and they made a room for me.
Cool.
And we just hung out, you know.
What would you say to say anybody trying to make it? I mean, really trying to make it out there. What do you think?
You just gotta believe in yourself and keep trying. Don't give up. You know, don't think that you gotta do anything like do drugs or any kind of weird bullshit like that. You know, or become an alcoholic. Like, you know, like you see a lot of guys that have the image of being like really heavy in alcohol or drugs, but a lot of them really aren't. You know, I know a lot of them. They're really not that way. Octa Rose is completely clean. You know. They as far as I know, they fired their drummer because he had a problem. Because, you know, they know you just can't do it. You know, when you're on that bullshit, you know, you gotta have a clear mind, because there's so much involved in it. You don't even, you know, you have no idea half the story. And everybody thinks it's just getting up on stage and playing music, but it's really not. That's only like that's a small part of it. You know, there's a lot of different elements to it. You know, a lot of business, a lot of thinking. You know, and you gotta really be on top of it. You know, and if you're not really on top of it, you get lost in the race because there's so many bands, there's so much competition. You know, you gotta have an edge, and, you know, just stay clean. Well, you know what, ACT. Cool. Blame yourself.
All right.
That it?
I guess so.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming down to check us out.